we are not rare. But before you leave, you will perceive the lore will be unlocked. You might be stalked by a Sasquatch or a ghost witch, possibly even a ghost that will boast about knowing the Ohio grassman or even the Michigan dogman. Werewolves hunt, poltergeists are up front, but in these backwoods folklore is unlocked.
Welcome to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and like always, I'm joined by Ethan.
Yep, hello again, everyone.
And this week, we are t- taking a look at a ghost story in Resurrection Mary. And and the description is she's a ghost that appears near Resurrection Cemetery in Justice, Illinois, near Chicago. Thus, re- her name, Resurrection Mary. And she's a vanishing hitchhiker archetype, which is basically a person picks up a who they believe is another person, and turns out once they get either close to the location where the alleged other person says they want to go or get to the actual location, they just vanish. And she's considered the Chicago area's most famous ghost. And she's described as a young woman dressed in a semi formal dress, white party dress with light blonde hair and blue eyes. Other variations have her wearing a thin shawl, dancing shoes, and carrying a small clutch purse, with her possibly acting shy.
Yeah, I have to say, if you were to see her on the side of the road, she would definitely turn some heads, or like she'd be like noticeable, like especially with what she's wearing.
Exactly.
So the location, since the 1930s, several men who were driving northeast on Archer Avenue between the Willowbrook Ballroom, which was the ballroom that like the story kind of take place, and the Resurrection Cemetery have picked up a hitchhiker similar to Mary. As the driver nears the cemetery, she would disappear, kind of like we were talking about the hitchhiker archetype. And according to the Chicago Tribune, full time ghost hunter Richard Crow has close to 36 reports of Mary dating back to the 30s. And then I just have a picture there of the very front of Resurrection Cemetery.
And then like Ethan mentioned, uh, the alleged origin story of Mary. Apparently, she had spent the evening with her boyfriend at the formerly known O. Henry, now known as Willowbrook Ballroom. And at some point in the night, the couple had an argument, which caused Mary to storm off by herself, leaving the ballroom, but unfortunately not making it very far before she was struck and killed by a hit and run driver. And her parents found her and were, you know, grief stricken, which fair enough. And Mary was then buried in Resurrection Cemetery, and allegedly the driver was never found. So that's why the Resurrection Cemetery and the Willowbrook Ballroom are so important to this story.
Then we have some, I guess, reports of Mary. So Jerry Pallas reported in 1939 that he believed he danced with and then even kissed Mary, who he believed, well, a woman who he believed was Mary, with her asking him to drive her along Archer Avenue. Whenever they got to Resurrection Cemetery, she exited the vehicle and then she disappeared.
And if you're on YouTube, you'll see we've got a picture of the Willowbrook ballroom where the alleged find where she's been seen around a lot, along with the Resurrection Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's been some other reports, like in 1973 at Harlow's nightclub, and then in 1976, 78, 80, and 89, cars reported striking or nearly striking a woman that matched Mary's description right outside of the cemetery.
I saw a report that I liked on here that it was a taxi driver that ended up taking a woman that matched kind of Mary's description past. Actually, I don't really know where it was from. He said that he took her to an area and then all of a sudden she started pointing out the window and saying, "Oh, there's where it happened." So it might have been the place that she got hit, or it possibly could have been either the nightclub or the cemetery. I have no idea. But basically, she started pointing, and then all of a sudden she disappeared. And he said that the door never opened to the taxi, so just vanished.
Well, just like the vanishing hitchhiker archetype.
Yeah. So the possible identities. So it's called Resurrection Mary. So there's a Mary Bergovi that died in 1934 in an auto accident, and it's thought to have happened in Chicago's South Loop. Then there's also another possible identity, which is not named Mary. It's Anna Norkus. And in 1999, the author Ursula Bilisky noted a possible connection since Norkus had died in an automotive accident on her way home from the ballroom in 1927. And this story has gained popularity in recent years.
Well, also, Anna was known as Maria, which is a version of Mary. So,
Oh, okay, okay, that makes sense then.
and so on to our thoughts. So I believe that since Anna Norkus was also called Maria, I believe that people her story of getting hit and killed on her way home from the ballroom, they probably started calling her Mary over time and probably formed a ghost story, an urban legend that was centered around her since it was a tragic accident. Then people probably did believe they did see her as a ghost.
Yeah, I agree with Austin. It sounds more like Anna Norkus because the story does match quite a bit better, especially with her like going by Maria sometimes. So the ghost in the story might actually be her instead of Mary Bergovi. Uh, I like the hit and run strikes, like that, like where people said, like reported that they thought they were about hit her or did hit her as a ghost. Like those, I feel like possibly, especially at night, might not be as credible, especially if the person knew about the story and they were around the area. They could have possibly lied about that. But I keep thinking back to the taxi driver that, like, he seemed like a respected guy. I mean, he doesn't seem like he would lie or anything like that. But he just said he's like, oh, the door never opened, and I sit here, I'm like, you could have been working a late shift, bud, but I don't know.
Exactly. That's the thing with ghost stories that kind of tie into real events like this. It's kind of hard to tell what actually happened from what it's made up.
Yeah.
Like Anna Norcus getting hit by a hit and run driver really did happen in 1927. It's the ghost stories that's kind of hard to tell whether or not they're real or not.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I think that's all we've got for next week. For this week, next week, I was getting ahead of myself. We'll be taking a look at melon heads. Any last words, Ethan?
No, thanks for watching, everyone.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. We'll see you next year. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Drop us a follow on Spotify, and we'll see you later.
Yep, bye, everyone.
You might wake up beside Spearfinger with an extended visit from Jack the Ripper. But if you're lucky, it'll be an angel on that range hill of Louisiana. You might meet Mary Laveau or the Rougarou. At Folklore Unlocked, Austin and Ethan concoct their theory of the eerie and unexplained around the world, sometimes even the underworld. The lore is locked behind secrets, the folklore is meant to be unlocked. The Sokoloo is haunting NC as well as Tennessee. There are many giants that might be clients of the Dark Watchers, who might have psychokinesis. And the phantom time hypothesis is like the phoenix, coming back around again and again. The laser strain on your brain if you've got more than 2 brain cells in you. Some believe McCartney is dead because they read into the Mandela effect, which is subject to folklore.